The sound of rushing water under my pasture didn't belong. I bent down and traced the vibration with my hand. That's when I found it, steel piping. Freshly buried. Unmarked. Uninvited. I didn't authorize anything. I followed the pipe across my property line, through cedar brush and under my cattle fencing. The tracks were obvious. Tractor ruts, disturbed soil. Someone had dug right through Red Marsh Ranch and thought I would notice. Rungus. At the fence line, I spotted the logo, Juniper Oaks H. Their workers were already 50 feet into my land, laying pipe like they owned it. My chest tightened. Before we continue, please drop a like and comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Whether it's sunrise in Australia, midnight in New York, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France, I want to know. Don't just sit back, tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. I snapped photos, heart pounding, and yelled. One turned and shrugged. We were told the owner approved, he shouted back. I am the owner, I snapped. That's when I saw her. Karen Thistlewood, HOA president. Standing like she ran the state. Karen waved smugly. It's for the neighborhood, she said like I was supposed to be honored. Your ranch won't miss a little water. My blood boiled hotter than July asphalt. She didn't ask. She just stole. I didn't scream. Didn't argue. I nodded slowly and walked back toward my truck. If she wanted water, she'd pay for every single drop. This wasn't over, not by a long mile. That night, I called Behar County. No permits filed. No easement requests. It was a straight-up land grab. The clerk said, they claimed it was already agreed upon. But Karen lied and dragged the whole board into it. I printed maps, documents, time-stamped photos. I even replayed my security footage, catching them breaking the fence. That evidence folder started growing thicker than my haystack. They thought I wouldn't fight. I was just warming up. Next morning, I drove past the HOA's manicured neighborhood. Their fancy sprinklers danced, powered by my stolen groundwater. The nerve! I followed the pipeline down back roads until I found the spring. It was tucked behind a forgotten apple orchard, bubbling through limestone. A clean, natural freshwater source. Fenced, but barely. I walked the perimeter. A for sale sign hung loose on the gate. A number was scratched in Sharpie. I called the number. An old voice answered. You calling about the hollow spring? I told him I was. You a city man? He asked. No, sir. I'm the rancher they stole from, I replied. He laughed. Said I sounded serious. We met that same day. The owner was Milton Judd. Grumpy but fair. He hated the HOA too. I gave him cash, signed the deed, and by dusk, the source was mine. I returned with pipe cutters, a wrench, and a valve. At dawn, I installed the shutoff at the spring's mouth. The second I closed it, I knew Juniper Oaks would be bone dry by lunchtime. That evening, I poured coffee and sat on my porch. The phone rang nonstop. Unfamiliar numbers, neighbors, board members, even Karen's assistant. They were confused. The water's gone, one said. The HOA's trying to fix it. I chuckled. Good luck. The next morning, Karen showed up. Not a knock. Not a greeting. Just stomping heels and entitlement. You've made a mistake, she snapped. I stayed seated, letting her squirm. I handed her a copy of the deed. I own the spring now. You trespassed on my land and piped from my source. Her face drained. You shut off a neighborhood's water supply, she hissed. I didn't blink. You stole it, I replied. Now it's my turn to hold the valve. She stormed off, red-faced and raging. But I wasn't done. I installed motion cameras, locks, and 2 warning signs. If they tried sneaking back, they'd meet steel. My land, my water, my rules. The HOA had made a massive miscalculation. And I was just getting started. 3 days later, their roses died, lawns turned to straw, and kids had no baths. HOA panic spread like fire. Karen returned, sunglasses hiding defeat. Well, something, she muttered. Just turn it back on. I leaned against my fence, calm as a still pond. How much is your pride worth? I asked. She bristled. Don't be cruel. I smiled. You were When you laid pipe through my land like I was invisible. She offered $5,000. I laughed. That's cute. She stormed off again, redder than a sunburned tomato. I let her go. Sometimes, thirst teaches better than words ever could. The next day, a neighbor arrived, Leon Bramley. A board member. He was respectful. Apologized. Said they had no clue Karen never got permission. We'll meet. Formally. Offer real money, he promised. I agreed. I wanted it official, binding, and large. My land was no charity, and my patience was gone. They stole from me. I'd collect interest. That night, I drafted terms. Legal access rerouted. Monthly compensation. Damages repaid. And public acknowledgement of wrongdoing. They wanted water, they'd drink humble pie first. We met inside a diner in Cross Hollow. Leon, 2 other board members, and a lawyer. Karen didn't come, too ashamed. Or maybe too scared. Either way, the power had shifted. They slid an envelope across the table. $50,000 up front. Contract attached. 5 years, renewable. Water rights included. Monthly maintenance payments. All in writing. All legal. All respectful. Finally. I read slowly. Sipped my sweet tea. You'll route the pipe through county land, not my ranch? I asked. Yes, Leon nodded. And you'll install new meters I control? Yes, he confirmed. I smiled. I signed. They signed. I shook hands with everyone, except the lawyer. Something about him felt slippery. But I had my own lawyer now. A good one. Real sharp. By nightfall, I reopened the spring valve. The water surged down the pipe like it had a second wind. Juniper Oaks breathed again. But this time, they'd remember who gave permission. I deposited the check, bought a new ATV, and ordered something special, custom brass with Karen's name on it. 2 weeks later, I installed a polished plaque beside the spring. This spring was seized once. It won't be again. Property of Red Marsh Ranch. By the hand of Reginald Tolliver. Never forget who owns the faucet. Word spread quick. The HOA couldn't stop it. Folks drove by just to see the sign. Took selfies. Made memes. Reginald the Ranch Avenger, one post said. It went viral. I didn't mind the fame. Karen? She sent a cease and desist letter. My lawyer framed it. We laughed. Truth ain't defamation, he said. Let her file. We'll bury them in paperwork. I never heard from her again. She stopped showing up at HOA meetings. Moved to her cousins in Bleecker County, according to Leon. Couldn't face what she caused. Meanwhile, I got Christmas cards from Juniper Oaks families. Some sent pies. Others mailed thank you notes for protecting their rights, even if it stung first. Funny how respect blooms after justice. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more idea. One more message to send. Using part of the $50,000, I built a small gatehouse on the eastern edge of the spring, just decorative, with a keypad and metal gate. A symbolic checkpoint. I called it the toll booth. Word traveled fast. At first, folks thought it was a joke. Then I posted the rule: HOA vehicles entering for water checks must book 48 hours in advance. $25 administrative fee. Non-refundable. That gate got real serious real fast. Leon called. Come on, Reginald, the agreement doesn't say anything about that. I replied, it doesn't say I can't either. Silence. Then laughter. Touché, he said. You're something else. Karen must have lost her mind when she heard. Some said she nearly fainted. A few tried to tear down the sign, but cameras caught them. I posted screenshots online. Attempted sabotage by entitled hands. That plaque stayed untouched after that. No one dared test the rancher again. Especially not one with control of every drop they needed. Funny how fast people learn when they're dry. I slept better knowing the spring was finally protected, physically, legally, and symbolically. But the final act was still to come. Turns out, the county got wind of the unauthorized pipelaying. Someone filed a formal complaint. Maybe one of my neighbors. A hearing was scheduled. I wore boots and my best Stetson. Karen showed up late, pale, and quiet. Her voice cracked when asked about the permit. There was a verbal understanding, she mumbled. I pulled out my recording. Played it. Karen had laughed. Don't be so dramatic, she'd said. The room went cold. The board whispered. The county attorney raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like permission, he said. Karen didn't reply. Just kept staring at her shoes. I presented maps, the sale deed, timestamps. My lawyer sealed the deal with calm confidence. The verdict? HOA was fined. Karen was personally liable for part of the damages. She nearly fainted right there. I walked out with satisfaction buzzing through my spine. Not just revenge, justice. And the county publicly recognized my land as protected watershed territory. That meant more than the money. 2 months later, I got a knock. It was Karen. No lawyer. No minivan. Just her, in jeans and an oversized sweater. Her face was tired, haunted even. I came to apologize, she said softly. I stood on the porch, arms folded. She kept going. I thought I was doing what's best. I didn't respect boundaries, yours, or the law. For once, she wasn't faking it. Her voice was low. Genuine. I paid my share of the fine, she added. Stepped down from the HOA. I'm moving next month. She looked up. I wanted you to know I was wrong. I nodded slowly. You were, I said. But thank you for saying it out loud. She blinked. Do you forgive me? I didn't answer right away. I forgive what you learned from. But don't forget it again. She left without another word. I watched her car shrink down the road. The sun dipped low. A hawk circled overhead. And for the first time in months, the spring felt peaceful again. Life returned to normal. The gatehouse stood proudly, gleaming in the sunrise. My cattle grazed freely. The pipes stayed quiet. No trespassing. No buried surprises. Only the quiet confidence of reclaimed land. Every so often, families from Juniper Oaks stopped by, with permission. They'd wave, drop off cookies, or just thank me. Our kids have water because of you, they'd say. Funny how villains become heroes with time. I kept the money. Never spent it all. Some went to a local conservation fund. The rest? Sitting tight. Ready for the next time someone thinks a rancher won't fight back. I walk the spring path every Sunday. The plaque still shines. The toll booth still stands. And that pipe? It flows only because I allow it to. That's power you can't steal. They ran a pipeline through my ranch without asking. Big mistake. I tracked it to the source, bought the land, and shut off the water. Now they pay me $50,000 just to turn it back on. And they'll never forget it.